The following is a morning walk conversation with His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, recorded on February 1st, 1977, in Bhubaneswara, India.
We need to show the alternative.
A child can see there are two things. That what is the difference between a living man and dead man? So, my father was living one moment before. Now he is dead. Something is missing. The two things are there. What is the difficulty? And these big scientists, they cannot understand how less intelligent they are. Immediately understood two things. But something is missing.
Somehow they have developed this false understanding that everything can be reduced to atoms and molecules. That's
still less intelligent. It's still less intelligent. Kattaham iti vannat.
Because life is something which is beyond experimental knowledge.
That means they do not know. Say that. Beyond experimental knowledge and beyond your capacity.
Still they are hesitant to say that.
That is their poor fund of knowledge. A gentleman will accept, yes, we do not know. But they, in a roundabout way, to keep their position, they will bluff. That is most dangerous. Bluffing.
That's the difficulty.
That is it. If one wants to be cheated and wants to cheat others, you cannot satpakrura khalakrura. There are crooked living entities. One is snake and one is man. So you can control the snake, but you cannot control this rascal crooked man. That is very difficult. Khalakena nivarja. He will remain crooked. However you say. I told you that story. Caesar. Yes. Because he is human being, he persists. And the other one, animal, you can bring that animal into control. But because he is human being, you cannot bring him into control. He will persist.
What was that story of Caesar?
Tell me.
Scissors. Two men were arguing.
Oh, the scissors.
Yeah.
Caesar logic.
What is that?
Well, one man said a knife was used,
yes.
And the other said, no, it was a scissor that was used. And they began arguing back and forth, and finally one man who held that it was a knife, he threw the other man in the river.
Then you accept that it is done by Caesar. So he will know I want her. Then he puts him in the water, then you are doing like this. Caesar logic.
Argument in vacuum.
That was you. You are put into water. Either you accept, I shall push into water. No, I will not accept. So these rascals are like that. They are failure, they cannot. Still, they will do. The so-called scientists.
There are even international society for doing that.
Yeah, they must combine, otherwise there is no place for them. As soon as they accept that there is something beyond physical, then they will have to accept God.
That's why when we say life is non-physical and non-chemical, then they are really amused.
That is.
What is it? If it is non-physical, non-chemical, then what it is? They inquire.
The spiritual.
Yes. That
they have to accept two things, material and spiritual. It is difficult. Therefore, we have to understand from the authority the same argument that we have to understand who is your father from the mother. There is no other. Krishna says in the Vedic, Tatha Dehantara. The real living being is within this body. and he's changed. We have to accept. There is no experiment. Because they are not sober. A sober man does not hesitate, accept. The rascal, therefore this word has been used. A rascal cannot understand. So indirectly, one who does not understand this is the rascal number one.
They have the demoniac mentality.
That's the mother says, he is your father. He still will not accept. No, rascal number one. There is no other way. He is searching after his father. Mother says, my dear boy, here is your father. No, I don't believe. No. He is a rascal number one.
They're obstinate.
Obstinate. There is no other way to understand it. But he will not accept. That is his misfortune. Mudha. Boka. And our problem is that these bokas, rascals, they are leading the society. And they are suffering. He is blind. We are also blind and they are leading us. What will be our consequence? And we are losing the chance of human body to understand what is spirit, what is matter, what is God. We are losing everything. Very precarious condition. This rascal will not allow to understand reality. That is it. What we have got to do is these rascals. But because they are taking some position, the whole populace is misguided. And they are losing the chance of this human body. Suicidal.
Among scientists, there are many who are actually against this concept that life is something chemical or physical. But they are somehow afraid of speaking outside, in their, among their colleagues.
These rascals will boycott them.
Yes, once they speak out, then maybe they will not get grant from the government.
Yes, that's
So somehow they are hesitant to speak out.
that is. I have heard that among the scientist society, if somebody speaks of God, he is immediately rejected.
Yes, just like, for example, NASA, this National, what is it?
Aeronautics.
The Aeronautics and Space Institute, they are applying a lot of grants, especially to this study of the origin of life from chemicals. And all these research schemes, they're spending billions of dollars. But once...
Actually, billions of dollars they are spending for a false thing, and they are educated. Durasaya, Bhairatu, they are proposing something which is not the fact, it will never be possible. It's still there.
In fact, there is one member from here, from India, is in Bombay, in Trombay, that Atomic Research Institute. He's one of the active members in this study of the origin of life from a chemical. And if you get an opportunity, we'd like to give a lecture there in the...
He's talking nonsense also.
all of them.
A nonsense society. International society of nonsense.
There are theories that they know this much.
I think perhaps we have detected first that these are rascals.
We have detected.
Huh?
Yes.
Nobody before tried to.
Nobody is saying as boldly as Srila Prabhupada. So,
So, if I would not have students like you, they would have taken me as a crazy man. But now I have engaged you to prove them rascal. That is my duty.
there, before 1828, in the history of chemistry, there was this scientist, they thought that something, what happens in the body, in the living body, is different than chemistry and physics. That is called vital theory. But
Bhagavad said, Nainang Sindanti Astrani.
Nainang Sindanti Sastrani.
Nainang Dahati Pavaka. So, what is there within the physical world that is not burned by fire? What is that thing? But these rascals have no knowledge. It clearly says, indirectly, this is called negative definition. It is not this. Because he has no brain to understand, that therefore Krishna is explaining in the negative way, that you cannot cut by any weapon. You cannot burn it. It is never dried up. Because any physical thing, it can be cut. It can be dried up. It can be burned. It is just opposite. So many ways he has described, but the rascal will not understand. Find out what is that which is never burned. Anything, even big iron ore, they are burning. And it is clear, it is not burning. Therefore they are thinking there is no living being in the sun planet. But Krishna says, Imang Vyavasthate, I told, this is non-believer class, rascal class.
then in 1828, this German chemist, his name is Frederick Waller, he synthesized this called urea. Urea is a chemical that comes out of urine. It's a mammalian urine from called inorganic compounds. So he announced that there's nothing strange about the organic world that happens in the living system. So from that time onwards, they thought that life can be studied in terms of chemistry. But it is already about 50 years since that theory, but nothing happened. Nothing is understood.
That I have already discussed, that from orange tree you can get that acid, citric acid.
Citric
But
acid.
from citric acid you cannot get orange tree. That is not possible. A living tree can produce citric acid chemical, but citric acid cannot produce any. Therefore, chemical comes from living being, not the living being comes from the chemical. This is the conclusion.
Now we are in a better position because this Corona, he just synthesized this gene last month. So now with the synthesis of this gene, nothing is happening because this is what they thought. Once they synthesize this, they will be able to understand life in terms of chemistry. But nothing is understood, though it has been synthesized.
Failure.
So it has been completely failed.
Of course.
So now they are thinking around something else, that maybe what we thought was all wrong.
All wrong. Prove that they are wrong.
They won't speak up though, they'll lose their jobs. No, so they are coming around. When we say life is non-physical, non-chemical, this is a very touchy word, which they don't like to hear at the beginning.
Krishna says non-physical. Nainang Sindanti Asrani. Nainang Dahati Bhavaka. Nainang Susati. Apo. Everything, the 5 elements material, it has nothing to do with these 5 elements. Clearly said in the Bhagavad. It's beyond this. Yeah, whatever you find, you keep your thing moving. Earth, water, air, fire, that's all. But beyond that, it is not physical. And last, na hannate annamane sarire. Everything is there. So I was confident in the statement of Bhagavad Gita, therefore I strongly stress this is all wrong. I believe completely in the words of Krishna, that's all. I never experimented. But I know what Krishna says is completely right. Yeah, Yasmin Vidyate Sarvamidam Vidyatam Bhamanti. If you simply study Krishna, then you will study everything. Janma karmam sarme dibbam jujanati tattata. He becomes immediately liberated. Tatta dehang punarjanmane mamet. He becomes competent to enter in the spiritual world and associate with Krishna.
We just like that story with the scissors. How can we force the scientists to accept Krishna and the Bhagavad Gita? How can we force the scientists to accept Bhagavad Gita? The problem seems to be that they don't accept.
If it is a fact, you can force. If it is a fact, and if it is not fact, then it is obstinance. If it is reality, you can force. Just like the father forces the child go to school. Because he knows without education his life will be frustrated. So he can force. I was forced. I was not going to school. Yes. My mother forced. My father was very lenient. My mother forced me. He kept one man especially to drag me to the school. The force is required.
But that is the authority. Your parents were your authority.
Yeah.
They don't accept us as authority. They say I'm equal to you. Actually,
that is another foolishness. Another foolishness. Father, mother, natural guardian, they can force.
Well, to show that they have higher understanding, they are higher part of knowledge.
The child may be foolish, but father and mother cannot see that the child will remain a fool. He can force. Government also, why there is military force, why there is police force. If you want to be outlawed, then you will be forced to accept the law. Force is required.
But first the child has to see that there is some benefit in going to school.
Child cannot see, he is a rascal. He should be beaten with shoes, then he will see. The child cannot see. Uttam jasi sancha tarayat natu lalayat. Sons and disciples should be always chastised. That is Chanakapun. Never pat them. Lalane bahavo dosas tarane bahavo. If you pat, then he will be spoiled. And if you chastise him, he will come out a very nice person. Therefore, either disciple or son, they should be always chastised. This is the injunction, Chanakapun. There is no question of patting them.
People want to be flattered. They don't want to be told. So responding.
And that is the position of disciples. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Guru Mare Murkha de. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was God himself, and he says that my Guru Maharaj saw me a fool rascal number one. Chastisement. That is required. Chanakapun is a great moral instructor. He has advised. Tarayat nadulalay. Always chastisement. Otherwise they will be spoiled.
The intelligent boy knows that chastisement is some mercy.
Yes.
There's another aspect they call logical positivism.
So you know all these things. Dedicate your life to turn over all these rascals. You can do that. You are in a position. And present this life is from life to the Nobel Prize. Yes. A challenge. Will it not be a great challenge?
Oh yes, it is the greatest challenge
Yeah.
in science. Everybody is saying that the order, and we are saying very small fraction, almost insignificant.
So that is in every science. When you speak the truth, there is small section. And then gradually it develops. Seed, and then big tree. And not immediately big tree.
One of the professors, he raised a question, this logico-positivism, saying that something life is beyond experimental knowledge. Then he said, according to logico-positivism, whatever we cannot see, whatever we cannot find out by experiment, is not science.
Yes, that is not science. That I am always speaking. The science means not to observe, but to make experiment. And that is science. Observation and experiment. If you cannot make experiment, it is all logic. Therefore they say theory. Theory. Darwin is careful. He says theory. He doesn't say science. Because he knows that he is talking all nonsense. This is theory.
They also say that you cannot prove this Atma by experiment.
Anyway, then it is not science. You cannot prove, then why do you say it can be made by chemical combination?
Well, he's saying that they say our position is we can't prove.
Huh?
We can't prove Atma.
Then we can prove that our argument is that this is beyond our experimental, therefore you have to hear from the authority. That is our proof. Just like you cannot make an experiment who is your father, but you have to hear from your mother. That is the only way. There is no second alternative.
Shabda Praman.
Shabda Praman, yes.
And there is another very strange statement in this regard, saying that though we cannot prove something by experiment, but sometimes it is convenient to assume that way.
That is foolishness. Assume.
That is logico-positivism, saying that there's a house, let's say there's a temple there, but since I don't see the temple there, but I don't know that the temple is existing or not, but it is convenient to assume that there is a temple.
When there is a possibility of getting proof, why shall I assume?
Because they say they cannot see.
The same example. You cannot see your father, because the father was before your birth. The only mother can see. How you can refute this argument? Therefore, see is the only proof.
We have a small chapter on this in the book. This logical positivism.
Yeah.
Very interesting and very strange. This is remarked by
quite logical, that without father, nobody is born. So I do not know who is my father, but the mother is evident, that's all. You cannot make this theory that I was born without father. That is not possible. That is not the laws of nature. But there must be father. You can say, I have not seen it. And that is not proof that there is no father. One who has seen, go. Tattva darshina. There Bhagavad Gita says, Tad vidhi panipatena paripasnena sevaya upaдаkshanti tad jnanam jnanina tattva darshina. Go to mother who has seen your father. That is only proof. Tattva darshina. He has seen your father. So you submit. Panipatena to mother. Mother, tell me who is my father. And she said, yes. Tattva she has seen, tattva darshana. It is not that mother is blindly indicating somebody as father. She has seen. And you have to learn from your mother by submission, that's all. There is no other.
Actually, we use this theory
So they ask us, have you seen God? They ask us, so you say you have seen God?
No, I'm not saying. God personally comes and I see him. Krishna came, a fortunate person saw him. There Arjuna saw him. He accepted Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhava. Purusam, your person, Shasvatam, eternally. He has seen. We have to take knowledge from Arjuna. That is called Paramprasas. He has seen God. And he is giving a statement. You take Arjuna's statement and see God. That is the way. We are not blindly accepting Krishna, but one who has seen Krishna, his statement is there, we accept.
No one has seen the scientists create life yet.
Huh?
No one has seen the scientists create life. So why should we accept from matter? The scientists are saying life can be created.
What is this? What does it say?
He's saying that no one has seen science has created life.
So why
Therefore
that
we should
one?
not accept.
We
The
should not
intelligent
accept.
man will not accept.
Yes, that is another argument. Yes.
Actually, we can utilize these theories
Yeah.
to disprove their own theories.
Yeah.
It's very convenient, like this logical positivism.
Yeah, it is
Now,
very good argument.
Darwin's
That these rascals have never produced life. And why do they say like that? It's good argument. Because they say that we have not seen, that we don't believe. They're experimental. But you have not experimental. Why you push? Why you brainwash my brain?
according to this logical positivism, we can say that it is convenient to say that man has arisen from apes, but that's not the truth.
There is no experiment.
There's no experiment, but it is convenient to assume, according to this logic. But that's not a fact.
But why the modern ape is not producing any human being?
He said that's a long time ago, but
Now it is.
millions of years ago.
But why man is producing man, not the ape? Just see how they lunatics they are.
Why did the process of evolution stop?
It's convenient.
It's convenient to assume that way, that it's evolved, but that's not a fact.
Means for your sense gratification.
At least you have to accept that I am blind. So how can show others the path? You are blind.
By distributing a book to the Prabhupada, then the people begin to realize that the scientists are blind. Once they begin to disbelieve and doubt the scientists, then the scientists themselves will also be able to come out with the truth.
When a common man will challenge them, that you are rascal, you are blind, you are showing us the road, then it is. They refuse to accept it.
First of all, we have to show that their theory is wrong.
Yeah.
Then give an alternative view and to see which one is based on more real knowledge. Then they'll accept. Otherwise, they will not.
So that duty is now entrusted to you and your hand. Do it very nice. Krishna will help you.